This week we're updating these old orange nightstands. Pairs of nightstands always sell really well for me, so whenever I see them pop up on Facebook Marketplace, I try to pick them up right away. At first I thought I was going to paint these, but upon further inspection the veneer was in really good shape, so I decided to strip them and stain them. So let's get into that process. So I'm just applying the Klean Strip Premium Stripper all over the top with a chip brush. I got this for 12 bucks at Walmart. It's one of the better deals, and this one works really well. I really only let it sit for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, not even the full 15, and it was cutting through everything pretty fast. I did have to go over a couple spots again, but I find even if I leave it for the full 15, sometimes I have to go over it again anyway. These had a really thick finish. Sometimes I'll even just strip sand, but when it has a thick finish like this, you really want to use a chemical stripper. So after I let that sit for 10 or 15, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, I'm just going to come in and scrape all the goop off. I have a box behind the nightstand where I'm kind of putting a lot of that stuff, and I usually just let that completely dry before I throw it away. I do the same thing with my staining rags and any chemicals like that. I just let them dry out completely before I throw them away, so they're not really hazardous waste anymore. It's definitely helpful to have some paper towels and gloves and work in a well-ventilated area. So I applied some extra stripper after the first round to a couple spots that were being a little bit stubborn. Sometimes it doesn't all come off in the first go round. I used my carbide scraper on a couple of the edges that were just being a little stubborn with the chemical stripper. I got this stripping brush from Lowe's. It's got chemical resistant nylon bristles on the front and then some steel bristles on the top for really stubborn spots, and then a scraping surface on the end that you can use to actually scrape the stripper off as well. It kind of came off in little balls and they were kind of flying everywhere. It kind of made a mess. Like, next time I should put a little more plastic down. But overall this worked really great. I had to go in the corners with a second round of stripper as well. The curved edges are probably the hardest part to strip because I really wanted to get everything off before I started sanding those edges, because my Orbital Sander isn't going to do a great job on those curves. Acetone is great for removing these really stubborn parts, and I tried it with a paper towel before and it didn't work that great, but a cotton ball works amazing. It's kind of like, it's like the same idea as taking your nail polish off. I mean, look at that, it just disappeared really fast. And then next we're going to sand for days. I always forget how much sanding goes into stripping pieces. I hit all the flat surfaces with the Orbital Sander, and I'm going to go into hand sanding. I'm using these foam sponges, and then this little micro zip sander. They both worked great. After what felt like days of stripping and sanding, we're finally to the staining part, and I decided to go dark on these. Tan washes have been popular for a while, but I'm seeing dark wood make a comeback on sites like Crate and Barrel and Pottery Barn, so I decided to go dark on these. The first layer was not quite dark enough for me, so I ended up going in with the Java antiquing glaze, and that really helped me get a dark, rich color. I'm not sure if I should have sanded with 150 or 180 instead of up to 220 to get a darker color, if I just need more coats of regular stain or what, but I ended up getting these darker by going over them with a glaze. It got really cold for a couple days, so I ended up spraying these inside against my husband's wishes. But it was clear coat, so I knew it wouldn't really damage anything. And here's how they turned out. I did 1 coat of dark walnut and 2 coats of the Java brown glaze, and a few coats of Satin water-based polyurethane, and I think they turned out great. They remind me of some things I'm seeing at Crate & Barrel and Pottery Barn. I paid $75 for these and expect to get about 500. Please like and subscribe this video if you like what you saw, and I will see you guys next week.